Timberwolves said goodbye to the Lakers. The Rockets roll the Warriors. I walked in today. First person I see is Marvin, and Marvin says the following. You going to apologize? I said, about what? You know what? I said, no. You know what you said. I go, wait, is this about Rudy Gobert? Yes. You called him the most overrated player in the NBA. I'd like to take this moment. I'm going to stare into the camera. To Rudy Gobert, I apologize for saying you're the most overrated player in the NBA. For one night.
It's a temporary apology.
Very, very temporary. Rudy Gobert looked like Akeem Olajuwon. He looked like Shaq. He looked like Tim Duncan. Rudy Gobert had 27 points and 24 rebounds.
Excuse me?
Yes, I said the same thing. He dominated 12 of 15 from the floor. He's the third player in the last 50 years to have a 20-20 in a playoff game while shooting at least 80% from the floor. He was great. The rest of the Timberwolves, not so good. And they still won. The Lakers shot better from 2-point, 3-point free throw line, and they ended up losing. And you say goodbye to the Lakers, what could have been. But to Rudy Gobert, once again, congratulations on a wonderful performance against a front line that I think I probably could have gotten 10 rebounds. But once again, I mean, come on. Lakers had no big guy. Rudy Gobert should have been dominating just rebound-wise, just rebounding. That's all. He should have 20 rebounds every game against the Lakers. He should have. But once again, to Rudy Gobert, congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful performance. Did that seem sincere?
Not feeling the sincerity there.
You're not.
Because you went out of your way to say, well, for one night anyway, you did that. And you're expected to do that anyway. Other than that.
And you know fake sincerity.
I really do. Minimum kindness.
Okay. Yes, Marvin?
But Rudy's still one of the most overrated.
Yes,
just not the most overrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Congratulations, the Timberwolves. They advance as they dust off the Lakers 4-1. And as we always do, we don't look at the team that's advancing. We look at the team that's going off into the sunset. The question is LeBron going off into the sunset as well? He was asked about his future after the loss. Do you have that, Marvin?
I have. He talks about J.J. Redick's season.
Oh, okay. I thought that he was asked about his future there.
I think J.J. is going to continue to grow. I thought he had a hell of a rookie campaign for a rookie coach. It's already hard being a rookie coach in the NBA, and it's a hell of a lot harder being a rookie head coach coaching the Lakers. It's a whole nother ball game. And I thought he handled it extremely well. I thought he just learned every single day. He held us accountable. He pushed us. I thought JJ and his coaching staff were great.
Yeah, I thought that he had a really good regular season. I don't think he did well in this series. I think he was all in on the previous game, and he didn't sub out in the second half. I think he thought, if we win this game, we can win the series. If we don't win this game, we're not going to win this series. That was just my feeling. If you're watching it in real time and you're thinking, okay, they might win this game, and then they didn't, and then I wondered what the aftershocks would be. And we saw that. Minnesota didn't play well at all. It's just the Lakers have no bench. Now you're really reliant on Luka, who was banged up, under the weather, and you're relying on LeBron James. And it's not fair to LeBron to say, hey, you still have to be one of the 10 best players in the game. I think if he comes back, I think you're going to have to look at how do you monitor his minutes here. And it might be one of those situations like the San Antonio Spurs used to do. They didn't care about the regular season. This is about the postseason. How many minutes you play and how fresh are you going to be in the postseason. I think LeBron wants to, his ego gets in the way. He wants to prove that he can play every single night, and he's going to play as many minutes as possible. Now, I admire that. I want to see the stars play, but I also have to factor in what is the ultimate goal? Not to prove that you can play more games than guys who are 20 years younger than you. It's to prove how great you are when you get to the postseason, because that's how he's measured. The regular season doesn't matter. Okay, you get another all-star appearance. All right, you score a couple of thousand points. You add to your 40,000 points or assist or whatever it might be. This is about winning a championship. And I wonder how close he thinks they really are. The West is young. OKC's not going anywhere. You're seeing a Houston Rockets team that's young, might get Kevin Durant, might be the missing piece for them in the offseason, but they might beat the Golden State Warriors. You saw last night, they weren't afraid, and they shut down Steph Curry. So you start to look around and you go, okay, where do we fit here? And if I'm a Laker fan, I think we're kind of a middle of the pack. I loved what they were doing when they had an 8-game winning streak. They had a stretch there where they were playing great defense, and it felt like there was a collaboration going on. It wasn't just two players. There was a true collaboration. But then as you get to the postseason, coaches really start to limit the number of players who contribute. You might go 7 deep, maybe 8. But the Lakers, I think J.J. Redick looked at that bench and he went, I don't want to put those guys in. You know, you don't have confidence in them, but if you put them in, then they can gain confidence. So that's what I didn't understand. But J.J. Redick, he was testy. So pregame, this is a pregame press conference, and he was asked about what happened with the lack of substitutions previous game.
What do you recall about your thought process in the moment, sticking with the 5 you stuck with in the fourth quarter the other day? And is there an assistant or someone maybe that you'll lean on tonight, maybe to try to get some other guys involved if that opportunity presents itself?
Are you saying that because I'm inexperienced and that was an inexperienced decision that I made? Do you think I don't talk to my assistants about substitutions every single timeout?
No, I just think there's a lot of coaches lean on their assistants in those situations.
As do I, every
on.
single time. That's a weird assumption.
And then he walked out. So that's pregame. Tension running a little high there. I think it's a fair question to ask. I think you can ask it in a better way. But I do think the topic is fair because of what we just saw. Yes, Eden.
Yeah, but it didn't strike me as that unfair of a question. Plus, I don't know why the reporter should assume the other way either. The reporter should assume that he just does everything that we think he does. I mean, it doesn't seem like that crazy of a question.
Yeah, Paulie.
I disagree just a hair. The phrasing of the question is fine, but it feels like they're doing a preview of the next game in this press conference. Not even last night's game, but the following. That's what it's meant for quotes for after. And this is a 3-day-old story, 2-day-old story, and Redick is probably like, we're still talking about this. Now, that said, he could have blown it off with a pat answer easily.
Yeah, but that's just, if you watch JJ when he was doing his TV work at the mothership, if he got bored with you or he was going to dismiss you, he could get combative. Like he didn't suffer fools. He's like, oh God, this guy's going to tell me about substituting. Okay, I got it. Now that makes you a great media guy, not necessarily a great head coach. But the topic I thought was fair. And we saw the bench scored 4 points. There weren't substitutions. And I think you had a tired team. Now, I look at this a couple of different ways because you have LeBron, how many more years? And LeBron said after, he's not sure. He's not sure what's going to happen here. Feels like there's one more year there. I think you owe it to the possibility of you and Luka having an entire offseason, training camp, an entire regular season together. J.J. Redick's second year. Austin Reeves is a really good player. But you start to look at the other players on the roster and you're going, are you going to develop them? Can you get somebody in there? I think it's difficult. LeBron's going to make $60 million and probably $60 million attached to that because he's still playing basketball with endorsements. If you're Luka, do you want to be the centerpiece? Are you going to be the guy when LeBron leaves in a year? Are you ready for that? Here's Luka after the game last night.
I mean, it's been great, honestly. The way the fans accepted me, it's been amazing. The way the community accepted me has been amazing. So I'm really glad that I'm here. I had a great couple months. Obviously trying to learn about everything, about the city, about the team. So just trying to process everything.
All right. So he's got one more year on his deal. Then does he want to be there? He's going to get paid. He'll be the centerpiece there. And then you start to look at that trade. Who won in that trade? I think Dallas got Anthony Davis. Lakers got Luka. Both are out, moving forward. And this, I think I would have a better answer in a year. If you said after next year, I think then I'm going to grade the trade. Now, that's not fair because we want to grade a trade right away. But if I said to you, you could have had Luka or you could have Giannis if you're the Lakers. So if you knew that the Mavericks were going to move on from Luka, right, because defense wins championships, they weren't going to pay him this money. Let's say he was going to be available in the offseason. Let's say you had Giannis available in the offseason. What would you do if you're the Lakers? Because it's not a real scenario. It's hypothetical. But if you look at how this was going to play out, then maybe that would have been the scenario where Luka would have been available. He's 4 years younger than Giannis. But, this is one of those, did they make the right deal for the right player at the right time? And I think they did that because now all of a sudden you got LeBron who's on the clock. How many more years does he have? We can get Luka. We might be able to steal a championship here. Because if you don't have LeBron, are the Lakers making that move? And the answer is probably yes, because he's one of the top 5, top 10 players in the game. But you're making that move with LeBron to win a championship. Whereas if you didn't have LeBron, you would make that move just for the future. So this would be an experimental year. But this was about winning a championship, and you failed miserably. Now, you're a 3 seed, so you can't say, well, the expectations are too high. You're a 3 seed, and you have maybe the best duo in basketball. And yes, you do have a rookie coach, but I think J.J. Redick did a really good job during the regular season. The postseason, I think he'll look back on that and, you get together with your staff and you say, what could we have done better? Who could we have played a little bit more? You're seeing this with the Knicks. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, he does this all the time. That he plays his players. He doesn't have a deep rotation there. But you can only do that for so long. And then these players get worn down. That's why the Spurs were always fresh in the postseason, because Greg Popovich, he prioritized that. He was like, I don't care if we're the first or second or third seed. I don't care. I want my guys ready to go in the postseason. And they were. Seton, what's poll question we're going to have? By the way, LeBron said, I don't have an answer to the question about what comes next. I'll sit down with my wife and family support group, have a conversation with myself on how long I want to continue to play. We'll see. In the moment, I get the answer. I think he's going to be back and play again. He's also got his son there. There's a lot of money there. You're playing with the Lakers, and you get a chance to spend more time with Luka and develop that. Yes, Seton.
It is crazy that theoretically could have been the last time we saw him play, and it doesn't feel like that at all.
You're right. It could be. But I think he's going to play one more year. I think he knows he's not going to win another championship. This might just be padding your stats, get to play with Luka, get to play with your son. But, currently constructed, they're not better than, these other younger teams. Yeah, Paulie.
It's interesting when Seton brought up before the show, no one's discussing even the possibility that LeBron could retire. I think everyone thinks he would do the tour. But if there's any chance he says to himself, I got my son in the league, I got him on the roster, I played basketball games with him, that was the icing on the cake. It's hard to picture.
He's measured differently than anybody else in the history of the game. So it's not just, hey, I got my son in, and hey, we made the play. Hey, I'm playing with Luka. It's all about, now you got Steph Curry, who's kind of on his level. People now want to bring who's better, who's had a better career, Steph or LeBron. I'm like, LeBron by far. Like, what are we doing here? Steph's a wonderful player, but now he's encroaching on LeBron because his team's still alive and LeBron's isn't.